So I don't know if anybody's watching, but I just went through this whole thing probably for a half hour, not realizing that I wasn't taping. So I think that's kind of funny. Only I could do something so dumb. But here's what I was talking about. I was talking about deja vu. The reason it came into my mind was I was at work, and I experienced deja vu. I haven't had it for a long time. It was really weird, but it made me start thinking about things. I was like, oh, that was pretty intense. And, it was like something, when you have deja vu, it's like it has happened, but it hasn't happened type of thing, but it's happening at that moment. It's kind of weird. It's like, that's the only way I can really explain it. So something like that happened. And, I let it play out, and I tried to recall as much of it as I could to hold on to whatever was happening so I could understand it. So then I started Googling it while I was at work. I was like, make sure nobody's looking. And I was Googling this stuff at work. When I Googled deja vu, I came up with this article, which I will, you can type in like, scientists, new science discoveries and deja, what deja vu is. And you'll, if you Google that, you'll get there's a bunch of articles on it. And there's a scientist, his name is O'Connor. So him and his colleagues got to working together, and they wanted to devise a technique to artificially trigger deja vu, right? And then they wanted to put an MRI on the participant's brain and do an MRI on the participant's brain to find out what part of the brain was working, what was happening in the brain. Was it the memory, the part of the brain that uses memory, or was it the frontal cortex that we use for decision making? So they devised a technique where they came up with a few different words, like there was bed, pillow, dream, and night. These were all the words they used. So they asked them, were there any words starting with S? They said no. But later on, I don't know how long after, they were asked again, and they added the word sleep in there somehow. So sleep was a word that connected actually all of these words, but it wasn't in the 4 words that they originally gave. But people continuously remembered the word sleep. Of course, that's kind of inducing a memory. I don't think it's the exact same thing as deja vu. As a matter of fact, I think it's a very poor explanation of deja vu, because if you've experienced deja vu like I have, it really almost is almost like in the movie in the Matrix, like when they had the cat happening. Hey, wait a second, I thought I just saw that same thing happen. So I always say it's like it happened, but it hasn't happened, but it's happening. So that's the only way I can explain it for myself. So, with that in mind, I don't think that word association that they created, the scientists created, O'Connor and his colleagues, pretty much figured out what deja vu is, because it's not just a word association. I mean, you're in a memory of time and space and something that's happening, an event. So it's much more than just 4 words. So there's much more parts of the brain activated at that point when deja vu happens. But too bad we can't pinpoint accurately when deja vu is happening to have an MRI over your brain to scan the brain and find out exactly what happens during that event when you have the deja vu. Then again, deja vu might not be something of a physical nature at all. It may be something of a much more, either, what I want to use the word, I would say either quantum experience and or spiritual experience, however you want to look at it. The reason I say quantum and spiritual is that I kind of, when it happens to me, I always like to speculate on things, and I did this a little while ago, and I thought about it. I said that when we have deja vu, like I said, it's like it's happened, but it hasn't happened yet, but it's happening. So you have this moment that has all these dimensions to it all at once. That's a weird ass feeling, you know what I mean? So there's something really odd about that. I don't think the word association really fulfills what that means to us, because you can think of a time that you had deja vu. It's much more than just that word association. It has to be. To me, if 2 worlds, parallel dimensions are very similar. There's a very slight difference between them. With what we know of quantum computing, with the company D-Wave that created the quantum computers, which I spoke about in the other video that I did, and quite a few other videos that I did. Even the physicists and the quantum computer engineers, I call them, don't fully understand what's happening, but they do know that there's parallel dimensions, parallel universes that the supersymmetry takes place in, right? So that's how the bits are able to stay in 1 and 0 simultaneously. So if we keep that in mind, What if when we have that moment of deja vu, what if that's a moment that our consciousness goes into supersymmetry? Think about that. What if our consciousness goes into supersymmetry at that moment? It's like a slipstream of consciousness, and we're in two places at once. But to take it even further, what if these two places, because of what's going on with CERN and what they're doing with the quantum world now, what if these two dimensions started to merge? How would we know? What would happen? What would be the effect? I just used a keyword. I think that the effect that we would have would be what we are experiencing, the Mandela effect. We would have millions of people have a memory of something, of an event, one way, and millions of other people remembering something similar to that event, but happening a different way. So just keep that in mind. If we were to have two dimensions merging, it would be something like the Mandela effect, and it's something that I thought, but I don't know how you would research that. I don't think any scientist knows how they'd research that. Maybe in the future they'll be able to figure that out. But like I said, it's like a slipstream of consciousness. Maybe the consciousness goes into supersymmetry, 1 and 0 at the same time. We're existing in two places at once. That's what happens. At the same time that now we're merged with another dimension. Like I said, these are all speculations. I don't claim to be a physicist, a scientist, or anything. I don't have my degree in those areas. I have studied a lot of it on my own. I have a degree in behavioral science. It's different. I do love concepts and theories. I do believe that I use my imagination, my intuition, and these are things they teach you not to use. For some reason, the media and the way things are structured, they kind of like thwart you from using that part of your mind, that part of your awareness. And I like to say that everything, all the big changes, the discoveries, inventions, everything on that level has happened within that area of consciousness, the intuition and imagination. That's the magic realm, I would say. That's the place where all the magic happens, and science can't exactly figure out what that is. So let alone trying to use an MRI imager to scan the brain and find out, what deja vu is when it's happening in the mind. What if it's not happening in the mind? What if there's no way to actually scan when deja vu happens? Because you have to actually predict and know when deja vu is going to happen and have the MRI hooked up at that moment to see if anything is going on in the brain, right? And they can't do that. So they come up with this little word association thing, this scientist, O'Connor and his colleagues. And to me, it almost kind of takes away from the credibility of deja vu by making it something so simple, a word association, when you have all these dimensions to what's happening in deja vu. Like I said, it's like an event happening in time that hasn't happened but has happened. You know what I mean? It's you have all these different added dimensions to it. So how can you do something like a word association and say, oh, that's it, I figured it out, that's everything right there? I don't believe that. I really think that my theory sounds better. Just saying. So, and I don't mean to be like, funny about it. I'm being funny about it. So here, remember, everything I say is like an open source code. I'll learn from it. You'll learn from it. Everybody's going to learn from it. If you can, take some of the things I say, use it, twist it up, make it your own, tell me something, that's the best way. That's how we're all going to learn from this. And I would love to hear from anyone, like what you think. Remember, your thoughts are very valuable, especially when we collectively work together. We have a lot of power there. Thoughts are power. We come together with so many different minds and perspectives. We can learn a lot faster, and we can probably accomplish a lot more that way. I'll probably make a video again when another revelation hits me, but this one was pretty interesting. I hope that you enjoyed the idea of a slipstream consciousness, or the supersymmetry of consciousness, and the merging of two dimensions, and the effect. The Mandela effect would be proof to me that we've merged. So something to think about logically. I don't know if anybody else has put it that way, but supersymmetry of consciousness is what this video will be called. I should go and rename it now. But I'm not feeling too well. I'm going to go rest. I just wanted to throw this out there to you guys, and I'll be making another video. And there goes my dog Nundy sleeping in the back there. Look at him, the big lug. He's all passed out. Anyway, I'm going to go give him a big hug in a minute. and wake them up, start fighting with them. But I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're you know, keeping your mind open and you know, allowing the magic to happen, and you know, don't let anybody shut you down. You know, keep imagining, keep questioning, and just be happy. You know, be happy and blissful, and try not to let people get into your head. You know, control your own thoughts and lead your own way. Be a pioneer. It's the best way to be. All right, guys. I look forward to anything that you're gonna do in the, you know, anything you're gonna add to what I put here. I'm really looking forward to what you're gonna have to say about it, because to me it's a fascinating topic. So really open out. You know, just say whatever it is that's on your mind, and let's discuss it. Like I said, in one of these live events, when I figure out how to do this, which I think I have, I'm gonna have you guys, if you want to do like a discussion in one of these, would be great. You know, I'd love to have you on to do that. But like I said, I'm gonna go rest and try to recoup. And I will talk to you guys later. If you haven't seen the whole video, watch it. You'll love this video. Well, at least if you love the concepts, there's a lot you can get from this one, right? And like I said, add the stuff that you want. Okay, people, enjoy. We'll be talking to you very soon again. All right, over and out. Much love and happiness, health, wealth, and all that good stuff. All right, until next time. So I don't know if anybody's watching, but I just went through this whole thing probably for a half hour, not realizing that I wasn't taping. So I think that's kind of funny. Only I could do something so dumb. But here's what I was talking about. I was talking about deja vu. The reason it came into my mind was I was at work, and I experienced deja vu. I haven't had it for a long time. It was really weird, but it made me start thinking about things. I was like, oh, that was pretty intense. And, you know, it was like something, you know, when you have deja vu, it's like it has happened, but it hasn't happened type of thing, but it's happening at that moment. It's kind of weird. It's like, that's the only way I can really explain it. So something like that happened. And, you know, I let it play out, and I tried to recall as much of it as I could to hold on to whatever was happening so I could understand it. So then I started Googling it while I was at work. I was like, make sure nobody's looking. And I was Googling this stuff at work. When I Googled deja vu, I came up with this article, which I will, you know, I mean, you can type in like, you know, new science discoveries and deja, you know, what deja vu is, and you'll, you know, if you Google that, you'll get there's a bunch of articles on it. And there's a scientist, his name is O'Connor. So him and his colleagues got to working together, and they wanted to devise a technique to artificially trigger deja vu, right? And then they wanted to put an MRI on the participant's brain and do an MRI on the participant's brain to find out what part of the brain was working, you know, what was happening in the brain. Was it the memory, the part of the brain that uses memory, or was it the frontal cortex that we use for decision making? So they devised a technique where they came up with a few different words like